This is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast, and I am William Crooks. In the Eastern Townships, a piece of long-buried history is beginning to resurface. Researchers have recently rediscovered the foundations of a pioneer settlement linked to Captain John Savage, a Loyalist spy, Revolutionary War veteran, and one of the early settlers who helped shape what is now Bromont. In this interview, I speak with Roch Royer, a direct descendant of Savage who is researching his ancestor's life and writing a new biography that explores the dramatic story behind the man and the settlement he helped establish.
Give your background and how long you've been studying John Savage and your interest in history.
Well, actually, I'm currently writing a historical biography on Captain John Savage, his life and times, and partly because I'm his sixth-time great-grandchild, and there's a personal connection, of course. But genealogy alone is just not enough to sustain a book, and what truly compelled me is that he represents an entire generation that lived through revolution, forced migration, and hardships of frontier settlement. Alone just really attracted me toward writing and knowing more about John Savage.
So just so people know, like what time period are we talking about here? David told me that it'll be 200 years after his death in September.
Exactly, yeah.
So he died in 1826.
Exactly, and he was 85 years old at that time.
Okay, so he lived a long life.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where to begin. I mean, what really piqued... Give me some of the stories and legends. Like David told me that that he infiltrated George Washington's camp. Is that right?
At one point, yes, because he was doing his spy missions.
Okay, he was a spy for the British Army.
Exactly. I can go tell you the background.
Yes, please do.
Who he is and his background and of course going it through the revolution and until Shefford. Well, actually, John, he was a man that seemed to live several lifetimes in one. He fought the captain in the Revolutionary War, surviving captures, escapes, and missions that so perilous that bordered on the unthinkable. Especially at those time. We're talking about the revolution of 1776. He moved through the shadow of the spy, carrying intelligence across the enemy lines with nothing but nerve and conviction to protect him. And yet, his greatest legacy was not really worked on the battlefield, but mostly in the wilderness of Shefford, of what we know today. But on being from a family of French Huguenot origin, which not so many people know. The name Savage deriving from the French sauvage. The family lineage had moved from France to Scotland and then to Ireland and eventually to New England and before reaching Lower Canada. But the most misconception is that he was actually born in Stratford, Connecticut, not in Ireland. That's an important historical correction.
Okay.
And this conclusion is supported by his family records, by documented birth dates of his siblings, and his recorded age of his death, which would bring just about his birth in early autumn of 1740. There was the persistence of the Ireland tradition that seems to cling on John, that he was born in Ireland. It stems from family's deeper ancestral roots. Because John's father came from Ireland, later generation assumed that John himself had been born there. A misconception further complicated by the existence of John's father had a twin brother who was also named John Savage. So the identity appeared to have been conflated with his nephew later on retelling, and but the persistence of the Ireland tradition, it's there, but he's not actually born in Ireland. It has many things. Eventually, the Savage family eventually moved into Spencertown, New York, where John built a fine home that's still in existence today, actually, surprisingly. Yep. And he served as a captain during the Revolutionary War, but he wasn't just simply a participant. He commanded a lot of men. He carried responsibility for strategy, discipline, and morals. He actually captured more than once and made a lot of daring escapes that probably broken lesser men. That's the way he was able to file up men and able to escape or be saved. More striking about his role as a spy, his espionage was extraordinarily dangerous. Discovered spies were often executed without hesitation by entering into the George Washington army and infantry and bring it back. It was extremely dangerous, I would say. It required a nerve, intelligence, and the ability to move quietly between both worlds. So, and he was really good at it. But in a steadfast Tory, John was forced to abandon his farm town to the Civil War. So he made his new home at what would later be known as Savage Point today, which is near Albert, Vermont. He quickly established himself as a butcher, and again, he was named captain as well. And he's doing pretty good for a certain point, but until Vermont actually joined the United States in 1799, John found himself on the wrong side of the new political borders. So therefore, he had to move, and in 1792 with the Constitutional Act, the Eastern Township were open for whoever would apply for a petition as leader and bring some associates to live and to settle in the Eastern Township. And John had chosen Shefford at that point.
Okay, great. So tell me something. So David said he was witty and he was about to be hung, but he made them laugh and they let him go. Tell me that story.
Yeah. At one point, he was so cunning that he managed to amuse his captor, and he actually talked his way out of being hanged. But therefore, he still had to be incarcerated. But
right,
clearly, he had probably the rope around his neck, and it was just a question of second. But he was pretty cunning and wise, and I guess he made some kind of a remark that made them laugh, and they just keep him along for a while.
What did he do? I mean, when he established himself in West Shefford, I mean, was he a butcher? Was he a farmer? I mean, what did he do with I guess it would have been the end of his life, or?
Well, he was in his mid-50s, actually. So, but just knowing that starting home in the wilderness in their 50s, it's pretty tempting thing to do, actually. But I guess for John, he had no choice. He had to move and make sure that he was for the rest of his life at a safer place. Somewhere he can build his own community and his own way. And that's what he did, actually. He actually stepped into civil authority as well. He was the justice of the peace, embodying order, stability, and governance. And even in his later years, well into his 80s, he still remained actively involved in shaping the township, actually. And he donated substantial land to establishment of the Anglican Church. Years after years of hosting a religious service in his own home. and actually his home, he employed John was selling all kinds of products. His wife would make all kinds of clothing as well, selling, and having all kinds of stuff, even tobacco, tea, and I mean, a whole bunch of articles. And as well, he did pizza and everything legal, everything that religious. And actually, John was selling as well alcohol, so it was sort of a tavern place as well. So it was a meeting place. It was a very, very good.
Okay, fun. Now tell me a little bit about his legacy. I mean, what did his progeny go on to do? I mean, you talked a little bit about genealogy. I mean, can you tell me the family generations over time until yourself?
Well, actually, John had one son and 5 daughters. So the Savage name kind of, I'd say, sort of lose itself in different family names. And therefore, and especially with it's such a small community, everybody married within the associates. So I'm actually related to other associates in Shefford. And
okay, sorry. Explain what an associate is.
An associate was someone who abided to the I'd say the common suffrage of a land that you had to go on the land and settle on the land and take the oath of to make sure that you stay there and just start a new community. And it was a certain type of person that needed someone who had some kind of a skill or someone who had some kind of not importance, but who was trustworthy, I'd say. John had changed many, many times. He tried all kinds of people. Some were there way at the beginning in the 1794, and then they moved away at different other townships and stuff like that. So it wasn't easy to convince people to come down and live the wilderness while they were comfortable in their own home, living somewhere that's more civilized, I'd say.
I mean, while I have you on the phone, I talked to David. Tell me a little bit more about this book you're writing. Is it coming out soon, or was
Right now, the English version, it's going to be in 2 languages, French and English. And I've written the book in English, and I'm translating right now in French. I'm about 65% done. So that's I'm assuming that, but I think that, well, not think, but the one having published that would come out for the September. My plan, actually. I
was going to say, I mean, that would be a great time to launch it, I guess, or.
Yes, exactly. That's the plan so far, and everything is coming along forward, and so it's going to be about a 500-page book, but everything's in there, and it's. I made the book that it's not so dry and not so. To scholarship. I wanted to be everybody can read the book and enjoy the book, and to the way I wrote it, I made it more of a narrative, kind of a bibliography, so that you can follow John as if John was right beside you, and you live through John and how John felt, and whatever he lived through his lifetime. So it's going to be a special book, especially written, and can't wait to have it published, and so people can enjoy and read and know finally John Savage to its fullest. there's a few books out there, but it usually goes through the titles and what he did. He was and he went to war and had jail time and all this stuff. But I went through his whole lifetime, complete lifetime, from birth to end, with a little genealogy as well through the introduction. It's going to be pretty much a book that you won't need really other books. That one's going to be chock full of information, and through, like I said, living through John as if he was right beside you.
So just one more question. What's your day-to-day looking like, helping David out or working on the project for the next couple months?
Oh, we're still always working. We're always looking around what we can find and what we can work on, especially in the winter. In the summer, we actually go on the field and do some work. But in the winter, it's a little harder. So we're trying to going around and see what we can find, what kind of historical secret we can uncover. So we're finding other stuff and lately, and it's pretty exciting. Dave will probably make a video pretty soon, and people will know what we're working on lately. But it's pretty exciting and fascinating that we can actually bring out all this history that was lost and forgotten and not really apparent to you. But if you really look and you time to dig, and the stuff is still there, and there's still time to bring it out and rediscover all this stuff out there.
That was Roch Royer speaking about the life and legacy of Captain John Savage and the ongoing effort to rediscover the early settlement of West Shefford. Royer's research, along with recent archaeological discoveries, is helping shed new light on an important chapter in Eastern Township's history. You can read the full story on PulseTownships.com. I'm William Crooks. This is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast, and always remember, keep that finger on the pulse.
The pulse, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The pulse, do-do-do-do-do-do. Township interviews. Don't forget breaking news. The pulse, the pulse, the pulse. Broadcast just for you. Heading out for a cruise, or lying there for a snooze. The pulse, the pulse, the pulse. Broadcast just for you. Hey, I know that guy. Hey, I know that gal too. The pulse, the pulse, the pulse. Broadcast just for you. The townships are the